Hi there, I'm Randin Graves. I'm a recent convert to Line 6 Variax and Helix technology, and I'm here to bear my testimony and tell you why by walking you through a particularly elaborate show I've got coming up. So my trio, The Discographers, is doing a Led Zeppelin tribute show synced to animation. It's 10 songs moving through really quickly, and we've got to stay tight and perfectly in sync with the video. If you know Jimmy Page's guitar work with Led Zeppelin at all, you know he used a variety of guitars and also liked to play in alternate tunings. So I would actually need 6 different guitars to play this show normally, and I would also have to do a bunch of pedal board tap dancing to change effects. Thanks to Variax and Helix technology, I'm using one guitar and barely touching the pedal board throughout the whole show. So this, I won't go into detail on it. You might know if you're watching this video already. This is a JTV 59, obviously a Les Paul style guitar. And it is one, even without the modeling technology. It's got normal guitar, magnetic pickups, 3-way switch, which is the only thing I ever have to touch on the guitar throughout the whole show. Also has built-in modeling to mimic other types of guitars, and you can also change the tuning of each string individually on the fly, which is amazing. So let me turn on the Helix cam, and thanks to the Helix, this stores not only the guitar effects, but also stores the settings for the Variax in the guitar and changes that via its connection. And I'm running the whole show on a laptop, so this is being controlled via MIDI, so it's paging through everything on there without me having to touch it. That's why all I have to touch is this, and for 2 minutes in the show, I gotta rock the wah pedal for myself. Other than that, I just focus on playing and singing thanks to this technology, which is amazing, and I'm playing and I'm singing much better for it. Okay, so now we'll just start walking you through the show to show why this is so useful. Again, it's being controlled via MIDI for the show itself, but I'm just going to page through with my feet this time so you can see it quickly. Page. Oh, it's a bad pun I didn't even think of. Okay, anyway, we're starting with rock and roll. So if you know the original recording, there are lots of guitar layers in there. So just to get a little hint of that and to fatten up my sound, I'm using both the magnetic normal guitar pickup and the modeling. So you see here I've got the 2 effects chains running on the Helix. The top line is the magnetic normal guitar pickups running through a few different effects using the bridge pickup, and that's going out to a Princeton Reverb amp. Sorry, Helix fans, I'm not using the amp modeling for this show. I did decide for a few reasons to go with amps on stage to split in stereo. So for this song, the bridge pickup is going through that top effects chain into the Princeton Reverb, and I'm using the modeling using a fake Telecaster to go through that second chain, just as you see, only just a tiny little bit of overdrive that's going into a Vox AC amp. So hopefully the recording comes out well in the room. It's a spectacular, large, and glorious sound. I love it. Sounds great. And that's all that song needs. Next song, What Is and What Should Never Be. I'm using mostly just the real magnetic pickups for this one. So this is one of the times I actually have to change something. Flipping to the middle position. And Snapshots. If you don't know the Helix, basically, I'm paging through a different preset for each song, but within each preset, there are snapshots that can change the settings within that. So we've got the verse preset I'm starting with there, or snapshot. Next snapshot is the chorus. And for the solo, big reverb boost. And the coda is where I finally engage the Variax on this tune. So the magnetic pickups have been going through both amps for the whole song until this last snapshot sends the magnetic pickup to the Princeton Reverb, and a Les Paul special model is going to the Vox. big fat sound for that ending of that tune. Next tune, Immigrant Song. Again, I'm going to switch the magnetic pickups to the bridge position, but once again, I'm sending the magnetic pickups out through one amp and a Telecaster model through the other amp. I should also say on all of these songs, when I'm doing that, I've got a slapback on one of the guitars, usually on the magnetic pickups, so that there's also a little time stagger happening between the two sounds. The only effect that I need on this song, the only change is tremolo. If you know the original, a second guitar comes in just for the... That stuff is a second guitar that comes in. I'm having both guitars play the whole time, but just kicking that in only on the magnetic pickup, so it's only on one side in stereo. So... And that's it. That's all we need for that tune. Going to California, here I made a big decision. I was originally going to be switching to acoustic guitar, but again, a lot of room for error doing switching and stuff, staying synced to this show. So I went with the modeling on the Variax. And even though I could use the Helix to resend that signal out to the PA instead and get the direct acoustic signal, I'm kind of liking it going through the amps. And it's sort of a best of both worlds thing. I don't think he did on this song usually, but Page would often just play the acoustic parts on electric guitars. I'm kind of liking the sound, sort of rough sound of sending that acoustic modeling through the electric amps. So I'm just going with that. I'm happy with it. Notice this is our first big tuning change. Most of the show, I am magnetic pickups. Strings are actually tuned down a half step to E flat, so I can sing the Robert Plant stuff a little bit lower. So that's the magnetic pickups. When the modeling is engaged for this song, totally different tuning. So we've gone from the E flat normal guitar tuning to a double drop D in standard tuning. And you would never know, the audience will never know that it's happened. Next song is Black Dog, a different tuning again. Again, since I'm no Robert Plant, we tuned this one way down, a fourth down from the original. So now I'm tuned just like a baritone guitar. And the bassist plays a 5-string, so he can drop it a fourth easy. And it actually sounds really great, this like deep, growly version of that song. So that's all we need for that one. I'd love to double the tone with the magnetic pickups on this one, but I can't since I'm using that different tuning. So we end the song after the guitar solo. And then Kashmir. Using a Les Paul model in yet another tuning. So if you know the original, it's in Dadgad. I'm again cheating, doing the song a whole step lower than the original. So we are in Kigik Figik. Again, that is Kigik Figik rather than Dadgad. So again, going back, Immigrant Song, going to California, Black Dog, Kashmir. Changing tunings on the fly, and they all sound great. It's amazing. Just a few effects switches in this song. Taking a cue from Page's live performances, I'm using a phaser for that riff, and kicking in a little extra drive for the big ending. That's it for that tune. We have a big finish on that one. Dear Maker. For this I decided to go with just the magnetic pickups. Got to switch manually again to the middle position. Only effect change on this is a little extra boost for the solo. That's it for that one. Then it's on to Ramble On. I made a tough choice on this one too. We are using a few backing tracks throughout the show to, obviously give us another layer since we're only a trio, and so that we can, so I can do the electric parts. Oops. I've got the acoustic part pre-recorded, made a track of that, rather than modeling on here, which I originally was going to do. Chorus, snapshot. To the last verse. That's all we need for that song. Next one, we couldn't resist it. We had to do it for this type of show, Stairway to Heaven. So doing a lot of modeling on this one. Acoustic for the intro, again, just running it through the amps. And then when we get to where he starts playing the 12-string electric, gotta have that modeled, so. And then when we get to the bridge, I mix in a bit more of the magnetic pickups on the other. You see I've got the two chains running again separately. Mixing a little bit to each amp this time rather than fully splitting the tones. And then when we get to the solo, I decided, again, best of both worlds here. So the original recording, the solo was done with a Telecaster. He always did it live, of course, with his double neck 12 and 6 string XSG guitar. So I'm doing the Gibson humbucker tone through one amp and Telecaster modeling through the other amp for a big fat sound. Sounds great, big fat sound. Last verse, mostly Telecaster and a little bit of magnetic pickup. And the last section, just back to the solo preset. And that's it for that tune. So in that one song we had 4 different guitar models over 5 presets. It's great, so handy. Whole Lot of Love is the last one. Again, I'm cheating and doing the song a whole step down from the original, so if you're keeping track here, the strings are tuned down a half step already. Now I'm using a Les Paul Special P90 model tuned down another half step in the Helix. So ooh, a little messy. Slide. The psychedelic section. You've got to do this nonsense. Kind of stuff into the solo. And then on with the rest of the song. And that's it. So, I don't know, if we go back to the beginning, let's see, we had rock and roll, splitting a mix of the magnetic pickups and the modeling. What is and what should never be, paging through a lot of different effects, and then splitting modeling and magnetic for the ending. Immigrant Song, again, splitting magnetic and modeled tones throughout the song and paging through different effects. Going to California, different tuning and guitar modeling. Black Dog, guitar modeling and a different tuning again. Cashmere, guitar modeling and a different tuning, and paging through some effects. Deer Maker, magnetic pickups, just switching 2 effects presets. Ramble On through a few effects presets. Stairway to Heaven, 4 different guitar models through 5 presets. Changing the mix, going between the 2 amps throughout the song. And Whole Lot of Love, guitar modeling and different tuning going through both amps. So this all is a miracle that I can do this again without barely touching anything throughout the show. And the other benefit to this, if I do break a string, I mean, that would be a nightmare if I'm doing this. I mean, it's not a good thing anyway when we're doing this tightly synced show. But if that happens while I'm playing with this, keep singing if I have to. You need cooling, I'm not fooling. Gonna send you back to school. I also have the Variax JTV 69S as my backup. So if I break a string on that, I'll have this right next to me. Even though the magnetic pickups are different, so the tones will be a little bit different on some of the songs, it has the exact same guitar modeling, and I've saved my same custom presets into that. So for all the songs of the modeling, I've got the exact same sounds in another guitar ready to go on the fly. Okay, there you go. That's my demo of why I am sold on Variax and Line 6, particularly for shows like this. And if you're in the area, if you're in Salt Lake, March 6th and 7th, 2020 at the Clark Planetarium, it's full 360-degree dome projection animation while we're playing this set. I hope this has been entertaining and enlightening for you. Ask any questions if you like. Peace out, Internet.